Hello, once again. Welcome back to Podcash Africa. My name is Amos Ngahu, and this program is about not just counting your money, but making it count. Now, there's this question that I normally get: where do I start? Now, it is very important for us to be able to understand sometimes we are not even ready to start. Think about it. You're starting a journey, you want to go on a road trip. Do you start by the journey directly, or do you start by planning the things you have to? If you have a family, you have to prepare them. If it's parking, you have to. If it's water along the way, you have to put the resources together. So today, the first step I want us to do, and this is going to be a series on where to start. Today, I want us to start with audit. And I know that's a big term. An audit is basically, and I know there are people, some of you who are auditors, there's a reason why you will see a big corporate hiring internal auditors and external auditors and spending a lot of money. Why? This is purely to check on the going concern of an organization. And today I want to ask us, if your financial life was a company, is it a going concern or it is a gone concern? Now, listen, there are things that you need to do. And I would like you to understand that there are things that are affecting and sabotaging your financial success if you do not deal with them. And most of the times is because we've not dealt with our past. Now, I'm going to start this positively. Now, I know some of you are successful. Some of you could have started on a level, they may have been empowered. Some of you could have gone to expensive schools or very noble schools. Some of you could have started your careers very high. But now the first audit you need to ask yourself, yes, I'm successful. What if I dared you to repeat the success? Would you be able to repeat it? Do you understand the factors that led you to succeed? Some of us are successful because we have been lucky. And this is a call to us. If today you lost everything you have, would you have the audacity, the capacity to reconstruct? That is the first question. Audit your success, because the enemy of future success is past success. Now, let's go to the negative. People who are struggling. And I know we've all been there. And by the way, let me remind you, let nobody ever make you feel like you're incompetent when it comes to financial literacy. Let nobody ever make you feel that you're an idiot. Because I have seen many podcasts, I have seen many videos telling you, you investing there is a waste of time. No, 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 no. All I need you to do here is get control. And by the time you watch many episodes of Podcast Africa, you're going to realize that you're getting control. You have control. Because in my many years of experience, I'm also doing almost 2 decades in financial literacy. People come up with unique ideas and they make money. You don't have to copy paste. Most of the times, we get advice from people who are selling something, okay? And that can actually be detrimental. So we need to control. Now, number two, what you need to audit is a very important thing: your culture. What does your culture say about your what is it, how is it influencing your money decisions? Some of us have seen things, and this is why parenting is very important. We are going to talk about, we'll create a special episode for parenting, and especially on financial literacy. What cultures have you obtained over time? Okay, if you have seen, like I said, if you are the one who was being sent to the shop and pick milk and bread in the morning, your mom or your dad will come and pay. It was normalized that you can actually borrow for consumption. And that is the problem, because now it is okayed. And that's why I keep telling people, as parents, don't allow your kids to see you borrow. Other things being casual. And these cultures can actually come in when relationships now are built, because now that is when you realize this person does things this way. Kumbe, they can be done in another way. For instance, in marriage, I got married to someone whose school fees was paid at the beginning of the year. On the other hand, sisi tulikuwa tunaambiwa, you're being told, go to school, I will talk to the teacher. You're only given bus fare. And your old man will only remember you when you've been kicked out because of fees. So there's casualness, and that is why you realize most of us are a bit casual when it comes to making decisions, because now we've grown immune to some of these pressures of money. Some cultures are very good, some cultures can actually be detrimental and they could be sabotaging. So examine what money cultures are you picking up or have you picked up and they are sabotaging or even enhancing your financial journey. Traumas is another thing you need to audit. Most of us have financial traumas. You've been conned one too many times. So nowadays, even when you're told there's an investment opportunity, you become a hoarder. You clinch, you hiding because of the things you've seen through trauma. In my own experience, I remember there's a time I used to work in a construction site and we used to be paid 110 per day. And we used to be paid on Saturday, midday. So midday, I was rich. I was filthy rich. I used to have and then it was cash. I was being paid 660 shillings on Saturday, midday. So I remember one time I had been paid, I freshened up and I was going home and I met with my old dad. By the way, shout out to my dad, Saimo. Mkimwona muombe sana. He told me he was going for a check. Nimpatie 500. I gave him 500. He was going for a check somewhere. He didn't have fare, so he needed 500, and then he would return back to me. With an interest of 500, so he was gonna pay me back 1,000 bob. And lo and behold, I went, showered, waited for him. The sun already set, and he came home high as a kite. And that is how my first money trauma came to be with me. But I forgave him because I have not told you how I came back after this. So these are traumas. So even up to now, when people come to me, they tell me, I have this challenge, I have this challenge. My antennas are always high because I'm suspecting, I'm looking for a loophole to escape this conversation. And sometimes these traumas can actually sabotage your financial life. Or sometimes if you're the one who's used to borrowing money and you're not paying, okay, these are things that actually could traumatize you because probably you went through a lot as a child. You've gone through, that issue of poverty. So you don't believe you can go broke. That is why you borrow. So these are traumas that we must be able to address. So what's your financial trauma? And you must be able to address it from there. And then again, we also must audit our personalities. We must be able to know that we are different personalities based on who we are with. You'll find a lot of men, when they are together, they want to flex who can pay the entire bill. But the same dude goes home because they don't have a very good relationship. Their marriage, there's a marital status and then there's the status of the marriage. We're going to look at that later. So you'll find that at that particular point, there's no openness. So the guy becomes a little bit stingy at home. So you see, these are two personalities. So you'll find they are spenders. Okay? Spenders are people who believe whatever they provide defines who they are. So these are people who you must be able, when they have money, you will know. They make people happy, they thrive in supporting, they thrive. If you have a family, you're going to realize that they spend everything on their children. These are spenders. These are people who can easily be conned because any opportunity to make money, they're there. Okay, so if it's a Ponzi scheme or something, they will lose their money. But now the problem is that when they don't have money, they become like they are sick. This is what Kenyans say, nasikia hivi hivi tu, nasikia si. That's how they feel. But the solution is not medication, it is money. And then you have hoarders. Hoarders is HOARDER, hoarders. These are people who, take forever to make a decision. These are people who don't like risks. These are people who don't like expenses. These are people who negotiate with even Mama Mboga. These are people who, even in groups, they will ask, why are we contributing all that money? I know a guy. They will take forever to make a decision. And sometimes it's a good thing because they don't easily lose money. But however, they take long to make a decision. So sometimes some of the opportunities will bypass them. And then these other two are purely seasonal. This is money monks. How many of you here are more prayerful? Mkono mahali yuko. If you're watching it with someone, how many of us here are more prayerful when you're broke? Your prayer life, you're pressing in when you're broke. That is an aspect of it. You're more prayerful when you're broke than when you have money. I remember when I was struggling before even because I was fired in that construction job. I used to work in this construction site. I was fired, so I used to go for mass. I used to be a Catholic then. I used to go for mass every morning, and I used to touch the holy water and apply on my wallet. So that's an aspect of being a money monk. I don't know if it worked, but every story has a meaning and a purpose in your life. So you realize if it becomes now excess, extreme, this is what we've seen in the likes of people succumbing to cultic commitments, and that messes it up. And then finally, you have avoiders. Have you ever noticed when you're broke, you don't like money conversations? Or when you're starting off, you don't want to be told budget, what cash? If you go to my TikTok and some of the comments I get, okay, you think you're doing very well, so very harsh comments. But if you read, this is a person who's an avoider at that particular point. So it happens a lot when you're starting off in life, when you don't, when you're going through scarcity, and you cannot have a conversation. Even this is not everybody who's gonna sit and watch this episode, because now they feel like I first of all need to even eat. In a hierarchy of needs, you don't start with luxury, you don't start with education, you start with the stomach. And that is why you'll find even in Africa, a lot of us are compromising on everything because our basic needs have not been met. That is why you'll find politicians are buying even poor people. You can be ferried anywhere for as little as $2 3 it's quite unfortunate. So um those are the things that you need to audit. And finally, you need to sit down and audit relationships that you have. Some of us value, we have friends that we need to get rid of. We have to deal with relationships like the relationship. Some of us are struggling with a black tax. You have to audit these relationships and ask yourself, all these things we are doing, are they sustainable? I'm not telling you to stop supporting your people, but the question of sustainability and how now this can be self-sustaining. You need to audit the relationships. Okay, some of the people that you've been with, you've not fully because especially men, we don't get to a place where we are networking. We get together for show off. For women, we get together for social aspects. Can we convert this into more profitable episodes that we can be able to grow and learn from? So we must be able to look at our past, because when you start now looking at these are things that, if you're not careful, they will sabotage your financial journey. They will sabotage your even your present, because now you're still looking at the back. Have you ever, I remember when one of the days I used to pick my dad from a local bar, and in one of the days I was almost ambushed by thugs. And let me tell you, minor. That time I was weighing 65 kilos. I had abs, and that's the day I knew if it was today or Manyala had nothing on me, because the way I took off, I sprinted to a point where when I stopped, guys were saying, "Have you had noise on that side?" Because they could not imagine that guy could have gotten there with that short duration. And later I realized those guys had stopped chasing me a long time ago, because the way I took off, they could not believe. But I was still running. Now, the call to me, from me to you, is for you to be able to look at your past. Some of you are still running. You need to stop. Some of you are too distracted by the problems you have. Remember, problems are an underrated distraction. You could be going through debt. Refer to our videos on debt. You could be going through many expenses. You could be too busy in your work. You're forgetting to audit. My call to action this time is for you to set aside 15 minutes before you go to that TikTok, before you even wake up. Can you go and audit yourself? Take 15 minutes. Ask yourself, okay, why am I not achieving my goals? Why am I struggling with debt? Can I skip that lunch today? Can I say no to that person who keeps telling me, send me that money? You have to spend about 15 minutes every day when you wake up and actually say, today I have a limit to what I want to spend. If I spend 1,000 minutes, 1,000 per day, today can I spend 500? And again, audit even your past expenses. There's a reason why your bank sends you a statement. There's a reason why on your phone, if you pay through mobile apps, in fact, go whichever you use, whether M-Pesa or Airtel or whichever country you are in, and you do mobile transaction, can you audit? In fact, I did this exercise with my clients and I told them, can you go for the last 1 month, download your M-Pesa statement and download where your money goes to? And someone discovered that they had spent 48,000 shillings on Jabba juice. 48,000 shillings. I am not kidding. May you forgive me because they have not said your name. And it was hilarious because they were trying to shift from coffee to Jabba juice. Now, some of you have very weird expenses, but you don't know it because you're not intentional. Can you do a self audit on your past expenses? Because that way it is about to help you move to the next one. So, this is a call to audit. We're getting to part 2 of looking at our past. So, that was me, and that is still me anyway. Amos Ngahu, this is Podcash Africa. And before we end, a special shout out to our sponsors, Cloud9. Please make sure you're on the waiting list. Please make sure you're on the waiting list because the future of banking is here. My name is Amos Ngahu, Podcast Africa.